Hi friends, my name is David Trotter. I'm the founder and publisher of Awakened Magazine, and I'm excited to share with you a free masterclass on how to master your message and write magnetic articles. And no need to brace yourself for some pitch that's coming along. There's nothing to sell you. I'm just here to help educate you, inspire you, and encourage you because I believe that you can write incredible articles to do what the subtitle says, which is share your expertise, build trust, and inspire action without letting AI just write the whole thing for you. So let's dive into our content. First question is, why write magnetic articles in an online magazine? First of all, I'm going to define for you later on what a magnetic article is. But why write articles in an online magazine? Well, this content that I'm going to share with you could be helpful for blog posts. It could be helpful for social media. But particularly, I'm interested in online magazines because that's what Awakened Magazine is. But you may be writing for other magazines, whether it's, Brains Magazine or Best Holistic Life Magazine, Spiritual Biz Magazine, whatever it might be in your niche. This is going to help you be able to go deeper in how you write, why you write, all those good reasons. So first, a couple reasons that are important to me for our writers is one, it helps you clarify your thoughts and your message. If you don't know my background, I was a pastor for over a decade, and 5 of those years, I actually was teaching on Sundays, 3 different services, hundreds of people. And when I would sit down to write that message, 30 to 45-minute message every week, it would require me to go, what are my thoughts on this subject? Like, how do I want to clarify all the different, feedback and the things that I'm learning from these different books? How do I want to make it concise so I can communicate it in a real clear way? That is something that's really powerful about writing, is it causes you to clarify your thoughts. The second is it's an opportunity to share your wisdom and make an impact. I mean, ultimately, I hope that you would be writing because you have something inside of you. You have wisdom, you have experiences, you have knowledge, and there are people that need that. And when they read that information from you, that it's going to impact them in some way. That's a big reason on why to write for an online magazine. Third is to establish yourself as an authority. Anytime I read an article, I see the person's name, I see their photo, their bio, their byline. I'm like, well, okay, they must be an expert in this area. And so I have an extra level of trust. I just assume they're an authority. That is something that you gain by publishing in a magazine. Number 4, expand your reach and attract your ideal audience. When someone reads your content, reads your article in an online magazine that does not know about you, you have just expanded your reach. They have just learned about someone that they didn't know about before. You have just gained some eyeballs, some attention, and potentially someone that might want to follow you. And ultimately, the way that you will be able to attract them is if they kind of subconsciously raise their hand and say, she's talking to me. He's talking to me, and they're attracted to you because you're talking in their language or speaking about their challenges or desires. You'll also, one of the reasons to write is to build trust and connection with readers. You may have heard in the marketing world, cultivating or developing know, like, and trust. That when you share your story, your life with a reader, it cultivates trust with them. They know you, they can like you, and trust you. There's a connection there. Another reason to write articles in an online magazine is to lengthen your impact beyond short-term social media. So when you write something just for Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, it really is just kind of here today and gone tomorrow, or maybe even in an hour, or at least a week. And so when you're publishing something in an online magazine or even your own website on a blog, it becomes long-term, and it can help you with search engine optimization. People search. One of our goals with Awakened Magazine is if someone searches the name of one of our writers, our goal is to have something show up on the first page of those Google search results. It's not always possible, but most of the time that's a big goal for us. And so that can help you when people are searching. And of course, when you write an article and you link back to your own website in your bio or in the midst of the article of some way, that helps your domain authority, which drives your domain, your website up in the search engine rankings. So that could be a big benefit as well. Another reason to write articles in an online magazine is just to create opportunities for client connection, for speaking, for podcasting, and for collaboration. So of course, your desire is you write an article, you want a potential client to be able to reach out to you. That's client connection. But also people may read your content and go, wow, I want to have them speak at my upcoming summit. Or I'd love to have them come on as a podcast guest. Or, I'd love to collaborate with them maybe on something. I'm going to reach out to them and see what might happen. All of these are key reasons of why it would benefit you to write articles in an online magazine. I love AI. I love it. I use ChatGPT every day for different reasons. And here are some of the reasons why I use it. You will notice what will be missing from this list is how to write the final draft of an article or a book or something of that nature. Super helpful ways to use AI. Generating ideas and outlines. Answering a question you might have. I will tell you, I don't use Google near as much as I used to. I now use ChatGPT to Google things. Yeah, because it can give me more concise, like actually the information that I'm looking for rather than having to click through Google and find, kind of what's on the results. So answering questions, brainstorming ideas, providing inspiration for fresh content, all very helpful through AI. Another is enhancing clarity and flow. So sometimes if I don't know in an article, like I'm trying to say it this way, is there another word? Give me 10 synonyms for this word, or give me 10 different ways to say this phrase. It can help me refine the wording. Suggesting improvements in how I'm writing a sentence or a paragraph, making sure that my message is just even clear or engaging. All of those ways can be helpful uses of AI. Summarizing and repurposing content. So if you have long form content, like we have a lot of transcripts from our interviews, every week I'll take the transcript, upload the entire document, just attach it via Google Drive, and ask ChatGPT, write 3 bullet points that will summarize what a reader will learn from this article. And then I'll take some of that content from those 3 bullet points and utilize that in my script when I'm doing the audio intro to the podcast. So it's a great way to get bite-sized summaries for social media, email, presentations, and so forth. Another is to just overcome writer's blocks by providing prompts or sentence starters or even drafting sections just to help you kind of get unstuck. Writing the whole thing, not helpful, but getting you started can be a very powerful tool. Okay, so all of these are ways that can be very powerful to utilize AI. What you have that AI doesn't have, can I tell you what it is? It's really clear. AI can generate words, but it lacks heart. Yes, your heart is what AI does not have. I just recently wrote an email to our subscribers the day after I had a bike accident. All right, you may be able to see kind of like here, and I got a black eye here. I got hit. I was riding my bike down in Newport Beach, got sideswiped by a car. And when I landed on the pavement, my fingers felt the asphalt, right? And immediately I was taken back to when I was 8 years old and got hit by a bike. The feeling on the asphalt was exactly the same. I mean, the memory just boom, boom, boom. It was so ultra quick. Well, I wrote about that experience in my email the next day to our list. And I dropped them in, right? I was like, I was riding my bike and I got hit by a car, and I tell the story and connect it. You know what AI does not know? It does not know that I was hit by a car when I was 8 years old. AI does not know that I was hit by a car on Sunday night. It doesn't know. It doesn't know that. So it wouldn't be able to tell that story. And it definitely would not be able to tell it with the heart and the authenticity and the passion in which I can tell it. That is what AI doesn't have. Yeah. So your story and your perspective are absolutely irreplaceable. Until AI can somehow dive into all your memories, which could be there at some point, until that day comes, your story and your perspective are only yours. AI can help you refine different things, but it cannot dig deep within your heart. It can't reach into your heart and pull out those amazing stories and emotions. So what readers want to do is they want to connect with authenticity, not perfection. So AI may be able to write something that sounds clear and eloquent, but it's not authentic. And I will tell you, I read every article that comes through Awakened magazine, and I can sniff it out real quick when something's been written by AI, because it's like, this just doesn't have heart. It doesn't have texture. It doesn't have a richness to it. You may be able to see that on certain social media posts or sales pages or emails that you get. And sometimes I will tell you, I don't care if it's written by AI if I'm trying to ascertain information, right? If I'm just looking for information, I oftentimes don't care. But if I'm wanting to be inspired, motivated, or maybe educated in a way that's touching my heart and my soul, I want to hear directly from the person. And that's what I believe that you have that AI doesn't. Your unique journey and voice are what make your writing compelling. That is absolutely true. So I want to read you 2 articles. All right. Both of these articles are 300 words, and see which one resonates with you the most. All right. So the title is Stepping into Your Power, Unlocking Your Potential. Stepping into your power is about recognizing your potential and taking action toward your goals. Everyone has strengths and talents that can be harnessed to create a meaningful life. However, fear and self-doubt often hold us back. To truly step into your power, you must first believe in yourself. Confidence is key. If you trust your abilities, you will naturally take bold steps forward. Personal growth comes from pushing past your comfort zone and embracing challenges with a positive mindset. Another important aspect is setting clear goals. Without a plan, it's easy to feel lost or unmotivated. Write down what you want to achieve, break it into small steps, and stay committed. Surrounding yourself with supportive people who uplift and inspire you is also essential. Ultimately, stepping into your power means taking responsibility for your life. You have the ability to shape your reality through your thoughts, actions, and mindset. When you choose to stand in your power, you create opportunities, inspire others, and live a life of purpose. Take the first step today by setting an intention to believe in yourself and take action toward your dreams. All right, so that's option 1. Now, let's read the second option. I'll put my face up here so you can see hers. All right, the moment I knew I had to step into my power, it was 2 a.m. Staring up at the ceiling, I felt the heaviness of regret in my gut over the decision I made earlier in the day to partner with someone on a big project. I had spent years trying to please everyone around me, saying yes when I meant no, molding myself into what others expected of me. I was exhausted, not just physically, but spiritually. That night, something inside of me whispered, enough. I thought back to the countless times I had abandoned my own dreams to support the dreams of others. For some reason, people with big ideas tended to suck me into their vortex because they saw how I could implement a big vision for their benefit. I asked myself a tough question. What would my life look like if I finally stepped into my power and pursued my own dreams? Stepping into your power isn't about being fearless. It's about stoking the fire of the life force energy within yourself. It's about reclaiming your voice, your choices, your worth. For me, it started with small shifts, saying no without apology, taking up space without guilt, trusting my intuition even when it felt inconvenient. Here's what I learned. Your power isn't something you have to earn. It's been inside you all along, waiting for permission to rise up and shine bright. The world doesn't need another watered down version of you. It needs the full, unfiltered truth of who you are. So here's your invitation. Take one action today that honors your power. Speak your truth. Set a boundary. Say yes to what makes your soul come alive. The moment you choose yourself, everything changes. Okay, so what do you think? Option one, or option 2? Which one resonates with you the most? Yeah, my guess is you probably said option 2. Option 1 was written by AI. Option 2 was written by me, someone with a heart. Someone was trying to communicate with soul and connect, right? Option 1, everything was true and right, and it flowed well. By the end, I, as a reader, started to, kind of hear in my head, blah, 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 right? Option 2, though, I was pulled in by the story. I was pulled in by the question. I was pulled in by the learning. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. The difference between words, information, and heart, authenticity, something that truly connects with your potential client. All right. So let us continue on, because once you realize, all right, I've got something powerful that AI doesn't, it's called my heart. What's my first step? Well, first step before you write an article is to clarify your primary message. Now, this is the first step I will tell you in last month's training, which was Master Your Message as a podcast guest. If you have not watched that training, you can go to our YouTube channel, search Master Your Message as a podcast guest. It'll come right up, and gave you some really helpful tips. I believe I got great feedback on it for about an hour training on how to really be powerful as a guest. The first step here is no different. It's to clarify your primary message. Because if you don't know what you're trying to communicate as a conscious leader, you're going to just write about anything, and it's not going to be as helpful to you. So first step, who do you help? Who is that? Who is that individual? If you tell me you help everybody, my guess is your business is probably not thriving. Because as you have heard, the riches are in the niches. And that's not just true when it comes to financial benefit, but it also comes, it's true when it comes to life transformation, when it comes to the richness of the healing and transformation and personal growth that you have the potential to make in someone, that the more you niche down to who that person is, the more you'll be able to reach them. The more easily they'll be able to raise their hand and go, oh, he's talking to me. She's talking to me. So who do you help? Is it moms? Is it dads? Is it a person over a certain age with a certain experience, demographic, whatever it is? You got to figure that out. The second is, what problem do you solve? They've got some sort of problem, and my guess is you're trying to solve it in some way. Another way of saying this is, what goal do they have, or what life experience do they want to experience? That's another way of looking at it. And then number three, how do you solve it? How do you solve that problem? How do you help them reach that goal? These are all very basic steps that you need to have in place before you write an article, because you'll want your article to be in direct alignment with this message. If I'm writing, let me first of all tell you what my primary message is, okay? I help conscious leaders, healers, and coaches boost their credibility and increase their visibility by featuring their wisdom and work through Awakened Magazine. And the result is more love, healing, transformation, and awakening in the world. And that lights me up. Okay, that is what I do. That is my focus. That is my passion. So anything that I would write, anytime I would go on a podcast, this is my primary message. Everything's going to come back to this or help someone do this. That's why I'm doing this training. It's because I want to help you boost your credibility and increase your visibility. Yeah, of course. And whether you do that through Awakened Magazine or some other magazine, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'd like you to work with us and connect with us, but I just want to help you. So this is my primary message. That means that when I'm writing an article, I'm not going to write about how moms should or could potty train their toddler. That's not my primary message. I may have had that experience, not being a mom, but potty training. My kids are potty trained, by the way. They're like in their 20s. So I may have had a life experience, but it doesn't mean that that would be the thing that I would want to write about, because it's not connected to my primary message or the person that I'm trying to help or reach. Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right. So what's your primary message? That's the first thing that you want to think about. The second thing that I want you to be aware of is then, what type of article do I want to write? Before you even, and you might want to think about the topic, of course, because it's going to be connected to your message in some way, overcoming a problem, reaching a solution, reaching a goal. But then what kind of article, what format of article would be most helpful or feels inspiring to you to communicate this information? I have put together for our presentation today 15 different types of articles. I call them magnetic articles because we're magnetizing your potential client with your heart. Yes, we're pulling them in because you're sharing your heart. And here's 15 different types of articles. Number one, the most powerful, in my opinion, is a personal transformation story. This is where you share a pivotal moment in your life and the lessons that you learned. I'm going to share with you later on in our presentation how to do this in a step-by-step way. Number two, step-by-step guide. providing a practical framework for achieving a specific goal or overcoming a challenge. 3 steps to cultivate peace in your life. 5 ways to get your toddler to eat food that they don't want to eat. 7 ways to relieve stress every week, right? You get the idea. It's a step-by-step process. Number 3, research-based insights. Present research on a topic relevant to your specific niche. So this could be research that you did or research that you found, and then you're unpacking the implications of that research. It doesn't have to be your own research. It could be a quote. It could be a statistic. It could be something that you got from somewhere else. And you're like, let me use this as a jumping off point to provide my reader with insights. I had to move my head all around. Number 4, poetic reflection. Use poetry to express deep emotions, insights, or spiritual awakenings. Number 1, you could write poetry yourself. You could write some poem, and then you could elaborate on it, like why this was meaningful for you or why you wrote it. Or maybe you don't write your own poetry, but you find a poem or some sort of narrative, quote that you utilize that is poetic and inspirational, and then you unpack it. It's a great way to be able to write an article. Number 5, journal style reflection. Offer a raw look at a personal experience and its deeper meaning. So you could write something as if you were writing in your journal, or maybe it actually is a page from your journal or an excerpt from your journal. You may think, well, that's kind of personal. I don't know. People love being able to see behind the curtain, behind the veil, and see into your life. It's a great way to cultivate know, like, and trust. Number 6, debunking misconceptions. So addressing common myths in your niche and providing a new perspective. Somebody thinks this, but in reality, this is what I believe. This is the truth. That's a different perspective. Can be a little controversial, which can garner some interest as well. Number 7, a listicle. So this is basically a top 10 list. Provide actionable insights in an easy to digest format, such as 10 ways to cultivate inner peace. So this, instead of being steps, right, a sequential number, like a step-by-step guide, this is just like 10 random ways, like 10, it doesn't have to be 10, it could be 3, 5, 7, 10, a million, whatever, how many ever. These used to be super popular as clickbait back in the day, but I think that they're still helpful because people want to digest things quickly. All right, number 8, how-to tutorial. Teach a specific skill or technique that's relevant in your niche. How to do something. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Here's how you pull this off, make this happen, integrate it into your life, whatever it might be. Number 9, behind the scenes of your life or business, providing a glimpse into your daily life, mindset, and or work with clients. This is similar to the journal excerpt, or journal entry, but instead of writing it in a journal format, you're more just telling them straightforward. It could be 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. That's kind of like a schedule, but it could be just telling them, hey, I want to take you behind the scenes of my life, my mindset, the way I work with clients. It's giving them kind of behind the scenes access, which everybody loves. Number 10, lessons from ancient wisdom. So this is exploring teachings from spiritual traditions, indigenous cultures, sacred texts, and you could take an excerpt from a book that you've been reading and then maybe you explain what it means, because sometimes, older texts might have words or ways of saying things that might be a little confusing. You can also dive deeper into it. Here's what it means today, how it's relevant. This was written 1,000 years ago, but here's how it's relevant today. People find that to be very helpful and interesting. Number 11, personal letter to your younger self. Write a heartfelt message of wisdom and encouragement. This could be me writing a letter back to my 8-year-old self who got hit by a bike. And I'm like, little David, little do you know, but 44 years later, you will be hit by another bike. Okay, that's a little creepy. Let's not write that letter. It should be encouragement, not a foretelling of something. But you get the point. Something that would be encouraging. And then you might think to yourself, well, geez, I don't know. It feels kind of like people are kind of getting, I'm just being all self-centered. It's all about me. The purpose of this writing, though, is to reveal something that you have gone through perhaps in the past, something that you can encourage your younger self on. One, it could be really transformative for you in the writing process, but for others, they love getting to know someone through a creative way, and you're cultivating that know, like, and trust. And if you shared a picture of yourself from back in the day, braces and, like your teeth are, jacked up beforehand or something, I don't know, pigtails, very endearing, super fun. Number 12, rituals and practices for healing and growth. So this could be morning routines, rituals, ceremonies, other transformational practices, things that you do with clients. People can find that fascinating because maybe they've never done that before. And I would say on here, including photos of that routine or ritual or ceremony can be very inspiring for people as well. Number 13, common mistakes and how to avoid them. So these could be pitfalls that you have fallen into in the past, and or maybe it's even common mistakes or pitfalls that you see your clients go through, and you're able to help people kind of navigate around those. That can be very helpful. Number 14, an open letter to a certain group. Write an inspirational, visionary message for the world based on your mission and values. This could be the whole world that you're writing an open letter to. It could be your target audience, the niche of people that you work with. That could be very helpful. I would encourage you that the open letter is more of an inspirational, motivational, visionary rather than, like correcting or harsh. Maybe there's a time for that, but I always want to encourage you to focus on the positive. 15, dark night of the soul and rebirth. So this is where you've gone through something deeply challenging, very personal, and you're able to share it. You're able to share your story of awakening, healing, this new path forward. Now, the only thing that I would say about something like this is I would encourage you to write about this once it's been processed. As a pastor, one of the things I always try to do was to hold off telling any stories that involved unprocessed pain. That I had dealt with it to a certain degree. I'd processed it. It's not like, hey, we're ever going to be perfect or not going to kind of fall into that every once in a while, but that you'd be mindful that you're not still sharing something that's kind of oozy, that there's got some health there, and you're able to comment on it and share it from that vantage point, which is a different vantage point for sure. One more bonus type of article is channeled or divine downloads. So this is where you would share intuitive messages, wisdom, spiritual downloads that offer guidance and inspiration. You can even tell people, hey, this is a channeled message. This is a divine download that I have. And maybe you know who it's from, or a spirit guide, or a certain entity. And that's totally something that could be an impactful way to communicate a message to your potential client. So, all right. So first thing, you got to clarify your message. Then you got to know what type of article are you wanting to write. Now, I want to help you understand how to write magnetic articles. That these are articles that are pulling people in with your heart. And I've used an acronym to help you understand that. So the first one, M, stands for meaningful message. Make sure your article has a clear, powerful message that resonates with your target audience's journey. We've talked about this, but you don't want to just write to write, in my opinion. Now, if you want to write just to be creative writing or cathartic writing, inspirational writing, that's great. But the type of writing that we're talking about here are magnetic articles in order to reach your target audience, to help them transform their life, help them get connected to you, cultivate know, like, and trust. So if that's the case, the message that's at the heart of your article must resonate with your target audience and their journey, whatever they're going through. That's the first. A, authenticity, right from the heart, sharing your real experiences, insight, and wisdom. I hope this is coming through loud and clear. That AI cannot do that, that's you. Authenticity, the real, the raw, the helping them feel what you went through. That is what everybody wants, is that authenticity. G, grab attention. Start with a compelling hook, whether it's a bold statement, a thought-provoking question, or a personal story. So you'll notice in the story that I wrote for you, the short article, I said it's 2 a.m. I'm laying in bed with this, regret. So that pulls you in it gets your attention. It could be a big, bold statement. Like I've thought about if I was a sound healer, one of the very first things that I would write as a bold statement would be, I hate sound baths. I know that might sound crazy because I'm a sound healer, and then tell them why. You don't actually hate sound baths, but there could be some reason. It's something that's like, what? Are you kidding me? And it pulls people in. So I write this email to our list on Awakened Magazine this past week when I got hit. And it was like, this past week, I was riding my bike and bam, out of nowhere, I put bam in all caps, bam, out of nowhere, I got hit by a car. I don't know exactly how I wrote that first sentence, but the first sentence, if you read that first sentence, first of all, the first line of the subject line was like, bam, I got hit by a car. If you read that, you are going to be sucked in to go, what? I got to see what happened. So grab people's attention in some way. Thought-provoking question, bold statement, personal story. All right. Nurture connection. Speak directly to your readers' struggles or problems or their desires and goals so that you make them feel seen and heard. So when you utilize phrases, language, sentences that your target audience uses, your niche uses, they are like, oh, she's talking to me. He's writing to me. It feels connecting because they feel seen and heard. Letter E, educate and empower. Provide valuable insights, step-by-step guidance, or new perspectives. Essentially, we're not here just to tell a story and then boom, that's it. No. Like, what did you learn? Educate me. And then not only educate me with like a lesson, something that I can take away, but help me feel empowered that you believe in me and that I can actually implement whatever it is that you're sharing. Like, help me feel like you're on my team. That's the educate and empower component. And letter T, tell a story. Yes, share personal stories that illustrate whatever it is that your main message is. We want people to feel. We want them to actually go, oh, like feel your pain, feel your sorrow, feel your excitement. One of the reasons why they're going to feel that is because you're speaking about their challenges or their goals or desires. And so really all you're doing is kind of reaching into them with your story and lighting up that sensation of feeling that they already have had in themselves. But the only way to do that is for you to be vulnerable and authentic yourself, for you to share your feelings. That's what empowers others to feel their own emotions. And then ultimately make your content memorable. When you tell a story, it's more likely to be remembered than if you just communicated information and facts. All right. Next is letter I, inspire action. Encourage readers to take a next step. So this could be self-reflection, thinking about something, journaling. At Awakened Magazine, we always love to encourage our writers to motivate people to download or sign up for some sort of lead magnet, whether it's accessing a PDF, a video, audio, or maybe even setting up a discovery call. I want that reader to take some sort of practical application in their life, but I would encourage you as a coach, a leader, that how can you motivate them to take an action step to sign up for your email list? Because getting their email is now an opportunity for you to continue to nurture that relationship even more. Much more than just social media, which the algorithm has the, likelihood of not showing them what you put out there. All right, and last but not least, C, clear and concise. Keeping your writing clear, easy to read, and straight to the point. The simpler it is, the more powerful it becomes. I find that most articles tend to be anywhere between 300 and a couple thousand words. And the shorter articles, the more concise articles, are the ones that tend to capture people's attention and make the biggest impact. Now, I would tell you that if you are wondering if your article is easy to read it yourself. Read it out loud. When you read it out loud, you'll find, oh, that sounds kind of weird. Like I kind of stumbled over those words. I need to rewrite that. I need to smooth that out. Or, the thought process should go from sentence 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And if you find that all of a sudden between sentence 3 and 4, you made a big jump of an assumption, that your reader's going to be like, I don't know what they're talking about, or I missed a point there, and you'll lose them. and you'll miss the power of your storytelling. So one, you can read it to yourself. Two, if you really want to be vulnerable, ask somebody else to read it. And then number three, if you really want to be vulnerable, ask them to read it in front of you out loud. Because as they're reading it out loud, you'll be able to hear in their pauses, you'll be able to hear there in their tone of voice, you'll be able to see it in their facial reactions. If they checked your phone midway through your article, you've lost them, okay? And so having somebody else read it can be one way to understand, is this clear? Is it concise? Do they get it? All right. So that's the 8 key points on how to create a magnetic article, something that's going to really attract people by utilizing your heart. Now I want to share with you the key elements of how to tell a personal story. So, I shared with you 16 different types of articles. The very first one was a personal transformation story. So I want to tell you specifically how to write that type of article. And you'll be able to utilize these principles in different types of articles, but this is kind of like, I believe, the most powerful way to get people's attention. Number one, hook them. Hook. Start with a moment that grabs attention. You've heard me talk about that. Bold statement, question, drop them in the middle of the story, something that pulls them in. Number two, a challenge, meaning that not that you're challenging them, but you're sharing a challenge. You're sharing a struggle, a conflict with vulnerability. You're sharing some way in your life that you have had a problem, a difficulty, and you're just being honest about it. And you're not just telling them about it, you're like showing them with your heart. Number three, there's a turning point. What changed in the process of your challenge, your struggle, your conflict? Was it a realization? Was it a decision? Was it a breakthrough? And number four, what was the personal transformation? How did the experience shape you? What wisdom did you gain? What did this struggle teach you? There's got to be something that you learned, essentially. And then number five, what's the teaching point? What do you now want the reader to learn? You learned this. How can you help them think about it, learn about it, whatever it might be? And this is what this should solve a problem that the reader has or help them reach a desired outcome or goal. Okay? And then number six, call to action. Invite the reader to reflect or take action based on your lesson. We just talked about that. So these are the 6 steps that if you followed these steps in sharing a personal story, you're going to come up with an incredibly magnetic article that will reach your potential target, your target audience, the potential client, and cultivate know, like, and trust, share something that you want them to learn, and motivate them to take action. That's the goal. You can utilize the same technique within the context of other articles, other types of articles. But particularly that personal transformation story, I believe, is super helpful that you can utilize in any article that you write. So I want to talk you through the structure of this simple magnetic story that I wrote and help you see how that worked. So we read this earlier. It was 2 a.m. staring up at the ceiling. I felt the heaviness of regret in my gut over the decision I made earlier in the day to partner with someone on a big project. That's the hook. It's 2 a.m. I'm staring up at the ceiling. Okay, well, most people, if you get to, 30 years old, you've had moments at 2 a.m. where you're staring up at the ceiling going, and you feel the weight of something. You have been there. If you got a decision that you have to make, or you made a decision, or you've got a problem, whatever, and I'm feeling the heaviness of regret. So that's the hook. It pulls, the goal is that it pulls them in. The challenge, the problem, the struggle, I share that. I'd spent years trying to please everyone around me, saying yes when I meant no, molding myself into what others expected of me. I was exhausted. So if my target audience is someone who has wrestled with saying yes to themselves, pursuing their own dreams rather than, just following the dreams of other people and feeling the exhaustion of that, they're going to relate to that. I'm vulnerably sharing about it. Okay? So that's the problem that I'm expressing. The turning point in the story is I ask myself a tough question. What would my life look like if I finally stepped into my power and pursued my own dreams? Boom, that's the realization. That's the breakthrough. That's the question that I need to ask. And ultimately, I'm not just asking myself that question. I'm giving the reader the permission to ask that question of themselves. Now, instead of going into the transformation process, I move just for a moment into a teaching point. Stepping into your power isn't about being fearless. It's about stoking the fire of the life force energy within yourself. It's about reclaiming your voice, your choices, and your worth. Now, I could have said this in two different other ways, and I want to point this out because in the storytelling process, you can utilize you and point toward the reader like you. You could utilize the word I, or you could utilize we. So let me show you the difference. This is in you. I could say stepping into my power isn't about being fearless. It's about stoking the fire of the life force energy within myself. It's about reclaiming my voice, my choices, and my worth. You feel how it feels a little different? The other way that you can do it is kind of include the reader into your process. So when you say you, it's a bit more intense and confrontational. I is taking ownership of it, and people may or may not include themselves. But if you use we, it's kind of pulling them in like a little bit of whoop, hey, you're a part of this too, right? Without it being so intense. So it could sound like stepping into our power isn't about being fearless. It's about stoking the fire of the life force energy within ourselves. It's about reclaiming our voice, our choices, our worth. Do you feel the difference there? So it's not right, wrong, good, or bad. It's just what you choose to utilize as a technique in how to pull people in to the story. Okay, so the story continued, and this is where the personal transformation part comes in. For me, it started with small shifts, saying no without an apology, taking up space without guilt, trusting my intuition even when it felt inconvenient. And now I shift the attention back to the teaching point. So here's what I've learned. Your power isn't something you have to earn. It's been inside you all along, waiting for permission to rise up and shine bright. Excuse me. Once again, this I'm utilizing the you. It's a little bit more pointed, a little bit more intense. I could have said it back to me. My power isn't something I have to earn. It's been inside me all along, waiting for permission to rise up, and I could say it with the we. Our power isn't something we have to earn. It's been inside of us all along. The world doesn't need another watered down version of you. Doesn't need another watered down version of me. Doesn't need watered down versions of us. It needs the full unfiltered truth of who you are, who I am, who we are. See, right? You can utilize that in those different ways, and it has a little bit different texture. But the whole point is it's a teaching moment. I pulled something out of the story, and now I'm delivering it to them as something to learn from. Last step, call to action. So here's your invitation. Take one action today that honors your power. Speak your truth, set a boundary, say yes to what makes your soul come alive. The moment you choose yourself, everything changes. That first sentence, I could change it to say, so I want to invite you to take action today in a way that honors your power. Another way, if this resonated with you today, I want to encourage you to take an action step that honors your power, that helps you step into your power, right? These are all ways to kind of say the same thing to move toward that call to action. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a call to action that helps them think about their life, helps them take action in a practical way. But for us at Awakened Magazine, we always love underneath that, even at the bottom, to have an all caps bold, take action, and encourage someone to download a lead magnet, sign up for a consultation call, discovery call, whatever it might be. Because I not only want the reader to be thinking about this article, taking practical action, but I want to connect them back to the writer who's a conscious leader, healer, or coach. And so that's something that, depending on the magazine that you work for, is something that you could integrate as well, and ultimately drives people to connect with you and your email list. Okay, last slide. questions to ask yourself. And so I would encourage you to ask these questions before, during, and after the writing process of this article. Okay, very important questions. Number one, am I writing this article from a heart of service? So you might be writing it because you go, well, my coach said I needed to write articles for search engine optimization. Or I signed up for this magazine platform and I paid to be able to publish articles and I really should be publishing them, so I'm just going to do it. Or, I need to get more clients and so I better write something that's promotional. Okay, well, maybe all of those things are true. But if you're not writing from a heart of service, it's not going to be as magnetizing as possible. It's not going to come off as authentic and rich and heartfelt as would be most helpful for you in seeking to serve your client. And so I would encourage you, am I writing this from a heart of service? And be reflecting on that. Number two, what problem am I solving, or what goal am I helping the reader reach? Yes, I want you to ask that before you write the article, but at the end of the article, when you're done, if you read it, you're like, is it clear? Is it clear what problem I'm solving? Is it clear what goal I'm helping the reader reach? Those are two different kind of angles, right? One can be a little bit more on the negative side, like if you're focusing on the problem, the challenge, the struggle. The other is casting vision for what kind of life or business or, healing that they want to experience. So one can be a little bit more positive. It doesn't matter either way, but it's just like, do you have something that you're helping the reader experience? Because if it's just information, and oftentimes a lot of AI written content just comes off as just, frankly, just information, just blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't actually help someone solve a problem or reach a goal in a real authentic, heartfelt way. Number three, will the reader know, like, and trust me more by reading this article? Okay, am I actually vulnerable? Am I authentic in this? Because if not, I'm missing out on an opportunity to cultivate know, like, and trust. I might be communicating information that's true, but does it draw them? Does it magnetize them toward me and the way that I can help them? Number four, will the reader be thankful that they read this article? So if that reader was sitting there reading that article in front of you, would they look up from their laptop and say to you, thanks. Yeah, thanks for writing that. That was really helpful. That was really inspiring. That was really motivating. That was really informative. That was really educating. Would they? Or would they go, oh man, I just wasted like a minute of my day. I wasted 5 minutes of my day. That gave me nothing. You don't want them to say that. You want them to be like, thank you so much. And so you have the power to determine that ahead of time to go, will they find this to be valuable? Will they be thankful? And number five, what practical application can the reader walk away with? Is there something that they're going to think about, they're going to do, the way that they're going to make a different decision, the way that they're going to behave differently, they're going to see life in a different way? Of course, everything that's going on up here, head and heart, great. We want them to think, we want them to reflect, but is there something that they can practically do with their life? I would encourage you to be thinking about that as well. All right. That's what I got for you. Look at that. My face is over my face. All right. I hope that you have found that this is valuable in some way, because I'm trying to help you solve a problem or reach a goal and master your message and write magnetic articles so that you can help people in this world in whatever way that you are helping them. You are probably helping them heal, transform, grow, pursue their dreams. You've got so many different ways that you could possibly help people. And I want you to write incredibly magnetic articles so that people's lives will be transformed and that they would be magnetized toward you so that people would want to work with you and embrace all the great things that you have to offer them. So thank you so much. Great to be with you. If you want to check out more trainings, more interviews, more incredible articles, check out awakenedmagazine.com. And of course, you can check out our YouTube channel and our podcast. Wow. Yeah. Check that out. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, all great resources. We're here to serve you. Thanks so much.